In the far reaches of the galaxy, there were stories whispered among old alien scholars, stories that spoke of a race called humans. Many younger races laughed when they heard the name. They said humans were only myths, shadows from forgotten time, nothing more than ghost tales told to scare children. But in the archives of the oldest star empires, the records told something different. The scrolls and data crystals described warriors who once walked among the stars, who fought with fire in their hearts and eyes that feared nothing. They said humans were fragile compared to other species, their bodies weak, their lives short, but still they won wars no one believed they could win. Generations passed, and the memory of humanity faded. Some said they destroyed themselves in their endless hunger for power. Others said they left the galaxy, vanishing into the deep void where no star shines. Whatever the truth was, most agreed on one thing. Humanity was gone, and the galaxy was safe without them. Still, there were always rumors. Miners in empty systems spoke of lights moving where no ships should fly. Traders told tales of voices echoing through the void, words no alien could understand. Commanders of patrol fleets reported shadows larger than any known ship, but when they returned to confirm, nothing was found. One young alien historian, Koresh, worked late in the archives of the Draver Empire. He was not like the others who dismissed the old stories. Koresh believed the records were true. He found fragments of transmissions marked with human symbols. One message repeated again and again. "We endure." It haunted him. Why would a dead race send messages from the dark? The Empire Council mocked him when he presented his findings. They told him to stop wasting time, to study something useful. Koresh lowered his head, but he did not stop searching. Deep inside, he felt the maw. Its were about to become real. Far away, beyond the borders of all known maps, something stirred. Ancient engines awoke after centuries of silence. Giant hulls covered in dust of broken stars began to glow again. In the black silence of the void, humanity's armada was rising. No one in the galaxy was ready. The alien empires had grown fat with pride. They believed they ruled the stars without challenge, but whispers traveled faster than light, fleets disappearing in empty sectors, stations reporting strange signals before vanishing without trace. In a council meeting on the core world of the Sather Dominion, leaders argued about the strange disappearances. Admiral Sharon laughed, saying it was pirates or rebels, nothing more. But Elder Val, who had lived more than 5 centuries, stood and said in a voice heavy with fear, "The humans are coming back." The chamber went silent. Many mocked him, but the old words struck deep fear in some, because every empire kept the same warning in their oldest records: never let the humans return. Meanwhile, Koresh discovered something shocking. A map hidden deep in the archives. It showed human expansion long ago, worlds marked with their symbol of blue and white. But the map ended in a blank space, a place labeled only as the void. He realized humans did not vanish, they moved. They built something far beyond the edge. Days later, a signal shook the galaxy. It came from the void, clear and powerful. It was a single word repeated in many tongues: remember. The empires scrambled. Fleets were ordered to patrol the borders near the void. But no one dared cross into the darkness. Fear gripped even the bravest commanders. And then it happened. A mining station near the edge reported a massive shadow moving, larger than any known warship. At first they thought it was an asteroid drifting, but then lights came alive across its surf. Ace, cold white like stars. Slowly, the giant structure revealed itself. It was not one ship, it was many. Silent, watching, waiting. The last report from the station before all signals went dark was a single broken transmission. They are real. Koresh sat alone in his chamber, his heart racing as he read the intercepted report. He whispered to himself, the legend was never a lie, and for the first time in centuries, fear spread across the galaxy. Because the humans were not myths, they were coming back, and they were rising from the void. The galaxy did not sleep after the signal. Across thousands of worlds, people whispered the same word again and again. Remember, no one knew who sent it, but deep inside, every leader, every soldier, every trader felt the same fear. They all thought of the old legends, the humans. In the great halls of the Sather Dominion, the Council of Admirals argued. Some said it was only rebels using ancient codes to spread panic. Others believed it was a trap set by rival empires. But the oldest among them, Elder Vial, spoke again. his voice steady. "These are not rebels. These are not pirates. These are the humans returning from the void." The room grew heavy with silence. Even those who mocked him in the past did not laugh now, because outside the borders of the known galaxy, fleets were vanishing, stations were falling silent, and no one could explain why. Koresh, the young historian, watched the chaos unfold. He studied every intercepted signal, every broken transmission, and in the pieces of static he began to see a pattern, coordinates repeated again and again, all pointing to the same place, the edge of the void. Meanwhile, on a remote patrol station, Commander Lathar sat uneasy. His scanners showed shadows moving far larger than anything he had ever seen. His crew whispered about the myths, but he silenced them. Still, when the silence of the void broke with a low hum, his blood ran cold. From the darkness, a single colossal ship emerged. It was unlike anything in the galaxy. Its black hull swallowed light, its edges sharp as blades. Strange markings glowed faintly on its surface, symbols no alien could read. The crew stared in silence, and then the ship sent a signal. One word: "We endure." Commander Lathar ordered the report sent to High Command, but before his message reached them, the massive ship vanished, slipping back into the dark. The station trembled as if it had only seen the shadow of something much greater. In the core worlds, panic spread, markets collapsed as rumors grew. Citizens asked their leaders if the humans were real. Governments gave no answers, but the fear only grew stronger. Koresh finally found what he was searching for. Deep in the hidden records, he uncovered a human prophecy. It said, "We will return when the galaxy forgets, and the galaxy will kneel not to chains, but to memory." His hand shook as he read the final line. "We rise from the void," and as if the prophecy itself was waking, strange signals echoed across multiple sectors. Fleets reported ghost ships appearing and vanishing in seconds, vast shadows crossing between stars, and whispers through comms and voices no one could understand. The Draver Empire sent a battle group of 20 ships to investigate one of these shadows. They entered the border of the void with full weapons ready. The fleet vanished in less than an hour. Their last message was filled with static and fear, a single voice screaming, "They are everywhere." Alien leaders called for unity. Empires that had fought each other for centuries now gathered together, not for war against each other, but for survival. The galaxy was no longer laughing at the myths. They were preparing for something they did not understand. In the void, the silence broke once more. Lights began to awaken across giant structures hidden for ages. Hundreds of ships stirred, their engines glowing like sun. Humanity was not returning with whispers. They were returning with an armada, but they did not attack. Not yet. They watched, waiting. Letting the galaxy tremble in fear, their silence was more terrifying than war. Koresh looked to the stars that night and whispered, "They are not myths. They are the storm." And in that moment, the galaxy knew the legend of humanity was no longer a story. It was a warning, and the warning was only beginning. The galaxy was restless. Fear hung like a shadow over every world. Fleets patrolled the borders, but none dared enter the void again. Governments told their citizens to stay calm. Yet in every street and market, whispers grew louder. The humans are back. On the border world of Zeron, a strange event unfolded. Farmers working in the fields looked up to see the sky rip open with silent light. A massive shape appeared above the clouds. Not a storm, not an asteroid, but a warship, black and sharp, its size greater than the cities below. It hovered without sound, watching. Panic spread, but the ship did not fire. Instead, it released a signal that every device in the city caught. The words were clear. "We remember." The Zeran government sent a desperate call to the Dominion Council, demanding answers. Fleets were ordered to respond, and soon dozens of alien warships surrounded the silent giant in orbit. Weapons armed, voices trembling. Admiral Sharon, known for his pride, opened the channel. "Identify yourself. You have no right to cross Dominion space." For a long moment, there was no answer, only silence. Then a single human voice replied, deep and calm, "This was our space before it was yours." The words shook the admirals. Many had studied the old legends. They knew the stories of humans claiming worlds not with treaties but with fire and courage. Sharon laughed nervously and ordered warning shots. Beams of light struck the surface of the human ship, but they vanished against invisible shields, leaving not even a mark. The alien crews gasped, no shield in the galaxy. "I could endure such direct fire, but the human ship remained untouched, silent, watching. Then, from behind it, more shadows moved, one by one. Massive ships appeared, black hulls glowing faintly with ancient symbols, each one larger than the last, until the sky above Xeran was filled with giants. Citizens fell to their knees, fleets trembled, and for the first time in centuries, the galaxy saw the rising of the human armada. Koresh, far away, intercepted the transmissions. His heart pounded as he listened. He heard the human voice again, sending a message across the stars. "We do not seek war, but we do not fear it." Alien councils erupted in chaos. Some demanded immediate attack before the humans grew stronger. Others argued it was already too late, because no empire, no alliance could face such power. In secret meetings, leaders confessed their fear. If humans had survived in the void for so long, what else had they built? What other weapons waited in the dark? Meanwhile, the humans made their first move, not of destruction, but of warning. One of the alien fleets orbiting Xeran found itself frozen. Every system shut down at once, weapons offline, engines silent, crews trapped in silence as human ships passed through them like shadows, untouched but utterly powerless. When the systems came back minutes later, a message burned across their screens: "Remember who we are." The fleet retreated in shame, and the galaxy understood. This was not just the return of a race. This was the return of a force that no one could control, Koresh whispered to himself as he read the reports. They are not attacking because they do not need to. The galaxy is already theirs, and in the silence of the void, more lights awoke, thousands more. Humanity's true strength still hidden, still waiting. The galaxy had asked for proof, and now they had seen it. The humans were real. The humans were rising, and the galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy thought they had seen the humans' power when the first giant ships appeared, but that was only the beginning. What followed was beyond imagination. From the void, engines older than empires thundered to life. The silence of space shattered as light spread across thousands of hidden hulls. At first, it was one fleet, then 10, then hundreds, until the darkness itself seemed to rise. Observers on distant stations trembled as the sky filled with human ships. Not small vessels, but colossal war machines, each one forged for battle, each one carrying the mark of a forgotten legend. Their hulls glowed faintly with blue and white, the colors of old Earth. Alien admirals struggled to believe what they were seeing. Their fleets, once thought powerful, now looked like toys in front of this armada. Reports poured in, shadow after shadow, ship after ship. Until the count passed beyond reason, Koresh could not sleep. He read every intercepted signal, and with every new transmission, his fear grew. Humanity had not just survived in the void. They had built a force so vast that no empire, no alliance, no galaxy could match it. On the border world of Xeran, the citizens watched the sky blaze as if a second dawn had come. Children cried, elders prayed, and soldiers dropped their weapons. For above them hovered a storm of ships that stretched beyond sight. Admiral Sharon tried to rally his fleet, shouting that the humans could be defeated with numbers. But before his words reached his crews, the human armada moved, not in chaos, not in confusion, but in perfect silence. Thousands of ships shifting as one, like a single living organism. It was a display of discipline no alien fleet had ever shown. The galaxy realized that this was not just strength, this was unity forged over centuries. Then came the voice. It echoed not from one ship, but from all of them together. Deep, calm, unshakable. This galaxy forgot us. Now it will remember. The alien fleet's paw nicked. Weapons were fired in desperation. Beams of energy, missiles, plasma cannons, all shot toward the humans. But none of it mattered. The weapons vanished against shields no one understood, swallowed by a technology so advanced it felt like sorcery. And then, without firing a single shot, the humans answered. Every alien fleet suddenly froze, their ships paralyzed, engines dead, weapons useless, entire armadas drifting helplessly in space, and across their screens burned a single line. "We do not start wars, but we finish them." The alien admirals screamed in disbelief. Some begged their crews to restart the systems, others cursed the myths they had once laughed at. But nothing worked. For long minutes, the galaxy's strongest fleets hung powerless before the human armada. Then, just as suddenly, the systems came back online. But by then, the humans had already withdrawn deeper into the void. leaving only silence behind. But silence was worse than destruction, because it meant the humans had chosen not to strike, they had shown what they could do, and then they left. Like predators reminding the galaxy who was truly in control, Koresh read the final report that night, and he whispered, "They do not need to conquer. Their presence alone is victory." And deep in the void, the Armada kept rising, more engines awakening, more ships joining, until the stars themselves seemed to bend under the weight of humanity's return. The galaxy had seen fleets before, but never an armada like this. It was not an army. It was a storm, and storms could not be stopped, only endured. The galaxy could no longer pretend. The humans were real. Their armada had risen from the void. But still, the empires were proud. They told themselves that even if humans returned, the galaxy was stronger now, fleets were larger, weapons more advanced, and unity was possible. On the Great Council world of the Scyther Dominion, leaders of many empires gathered, the chamber shook. With voices, some demanded immediate peace with the humans, others demanded war before it was too late. Pride and fear clashed like fire and storm. At last, they agreed to send the largest fleet ever assembled, 500 ships from across the galaxy, each one armed with the most advanced weapons known. They called it the Shield of the Stars, a wall that no power could break. Koresh listened to the news with dread. He knew it would not be enough. The humans had already shown that shields and weapons meant nothing to them, but no one listened to historians. They only listened to admirals. The fleet moved to the edge of the void, 500 ships shining like a wall of fire. Their commanders swore to destroy the humans once and for all. For days they waited. Silence filled the stars. Then, without warning, the void opened, and the human armada appeared. The galaxy's fleet fired first, a storm of missiles and beams cutting through space. The firepower was enough to destroy entire worlds, but the humans did not move. Their ships absorbed the storm like shadows drinking light. Not one ship fell, not one shield cracked. Then the humans answered, not with full power, not with their whole armada, but with a single strike. One ship broke formation and moved forward, its hull glowing with ancient blue light. With a single blast, it erased an entire line of alien cruisers, 50 ships gone in one moment. The galaxy's admirals froze in disbelief, their greatest fleet broken by a single vessel. Panic spread through the crews. Orders became screams. Unity collapsed. The humans did not chase them. They did not destroy everything. Instead, they stopped, and their voice echoed through every ship, every world, every star. This was a warning, not a war. The remaining fleets retreated in chaos, their pride shattered, their unity broken, and in their hearts the fear grew. If one ship could erase 50. What could thousands do, Koresh wrote in his journal that night. The humans are not fighting to win, they are teaching the galaxy to fear, and fear is the greatest weapon of all. On distant worlds, citizens asked their leaders the same question. If the humans wanted war, who could stop them? And no leader had an answer. In the void, the Armada did not pursue. They simply waited, their silence louder than any victory, because the galaxy now understood. Humanity did not need conquest. The galaxy had already surrendered to fear. And in the black sea of stars, the human Armada began to move again, not to conquer, but to reveal something greater, something hidden even deeper in the void. The clash was over. But the real storm had not even begun. The galaxy was broken. Fleets that once called themselves invincible now drifted in shame. Empires that once ruled with pride now whispered in fear. The humans had returned, and with only a fraction of their strength, they had crushed the will of the stars. But the greatest question remained. Why? Why had humanity vanished into the void for so long? Why return now? And what else were they hiding? Koresh searched the archives again, desperate for answers. He uncovered old fragments of human writings buried deep in forgotten vaults. They spoke of exile, not defeat, of leaving the galaxy, not because they were weak, but because they chose to grow in silence. The fragments told of a vow. We will vanish until the galaxy forgets us. Then we will return as something greater. Across the galaxy, fear turned into obsession. Leaders demanded spies to follow the human armada. Fleets shadowed their movements, but every time they approached, their systems collapsed, their ships frozen until the humans allowed them to leave. Humanity showed their power not with fire, but with control. Then came the day, the hues. Man spoke again. Their voice reached every world, carried through the void itself. We do not seek your thrones, we do not seek your worlds, we only seek memory. But what did it mean, the empires argued? Some claimed the humans wanted worship, others claimed it was a warning of conquest, yet none could deny the growing fear. One night, Koresh received a secret transmission. It came from deep within the void. The signal carried human symbols and a single message, come and see. Koresh knew it was madness, but his heart pushed him forward. He joined a small exploration vessel and followed the coordinates. What he saw when the void opened before him stole his breath. It was not just ships that the humans had built. It was something greater, a structure so vast it dwarfed moons, a ring of light stretching across the stars, pulsing with energy older than any empire. The crew gasped in awe. The scanners failed to measure it. They could only stare. This was no weapon, no station. It was something beyond imagination. From the structure came the voice again. We hid because we were not ready. Now we are. Koresh felt his soul tremble. The humans had not vanished in weakness. They had vanished to evolve, to build something the galaxy could not even understand. Rumors spread fast. Broken reports from shadow fleets leaked to the empires, whispers of a human creation that defied reason. Some called it a fortress, others called it a god machine, but none knew the truth. Alien rulers panicked. Some ordered their fleets to prepare for final war. Others begged for peace. The galaxy stood on the edge, torn between fear and awe, and in the darkness, the human armada gathered around the massive structure, guarding it like a sacred heart. Koresh wrote in his journal that night, "The Armada was only the beginning. The true power of humanity lies in what they built in the void, and soon the galaxy will see it." The galaxy now understood. The humans had not returned only with ships. They had returned with something far greater, but no one knew. Yet if it was salvation or doom, the galaxy held its breath. Fleets stayed frozen at their borders. Citizens looked to the stars with fear and wonder. All waited for the final truth. What had the humans built in the void? And why had they returned now? The human armada stood like a wall of shadows around the colossal structure, their engines glowing faintly, their silence more terrifying than war. The alien empires sent countless probes, but none returned. They sent spies, but every ship was turned away without fire, only silence. Then, the humans spoke again. Their voice carried across every star, every station, every world. You forgot us. You called us myths, but we endured. We returned, not to rule, but to remind. As the words echoed, the great structure lit up. Rings of light spread across the stars, vast arcs of energy brighter than suns. The galaxy trembled as the void itself seemed to awaken. For the first time, the galaxy saw the truth. The humans had built a forge, not for weapons, but for creation. A machine that could build fleets the size of empires in a single cycle. A structure that could bend the laws of matter itself. Alien leaders fell into silence, some in terror, others in awe because they understood. The humans did not need conquest. The galaxy was already theirs. One alien admiral whispered, if they wished, they could end us in a single breath. But the humans did not strike. Instead, their voice grew calm. We will not enslave. We will not destroy. We will only stand as memory. So the galaxy never forgets again. On countless worlds, people cried out, not in anger, but in relief. For the humans were not conquerors. They were guardians, unseen watchers, who had chosen to rise only when the galaxy grew arrogant. Koresh stood on his small vessel at the edge of the void, his eyes wide with tears. He realized the truth. The humans did not return. And for power, they returned for balance. The empires lowered their weapons, fleets stood down, and for the first time in centuries, silence was not fear, but respect. The galaxy understood. Myths had become reality, legends had risen from the void, and humanity had returned not as conquerors, but as a storm that could never be forgotten. And in the dark sea of stars, the Armada spread across the galaxy, not to rule, but to remind. Wherever arrogance rose, wherever pride blinded the rulers of the stars, the humans would be there, silent, watching, a storm waiting to fall. The age of myths had ended, the age of memory had begun. Humanity was no longer a legend. They were the guardians of the stars.